Shalom and welcome to Psychology of the Parsha for Parshat Chayei Sarah. Chayei Sarah literally means the life of Sarah, which sadly has just come to an end. Her husband of so many years, Avrohom, sets out to find a proper burial place for her. And sure enough, he knows of this very special place, Me'arat HaMachpelah, the cave, the special double cave in the city of Hebron. He approaches the locals, the princes of the children of Chet, and he says to them, I'd like to buy this plot of land. They referred him to the actual landowner, Ephron. Ephron was immediately promoted to leadership in order for Avrohom to be doing business with a contemporary, with someone of virtue, not with a lowly person. The children of Chet, Ephron, keep on insisting that they gift this land to Avrohom for perpetual ownership. Avrohom refuses. Avrohom says, no, I insist on buying the land. Although Ephron attempts again to look like this nice guy, this great person of virtue, who has respect and honor for such a great person like Avrohom, this great servant, this great famous man of kindness, the servant of God, yet Avram insists. And as it turns out, Ephron says to Avram, well, I guess you insist. So how about 400 silver shekels between the two of us, no big deal. And we'll call it a deal. Avram understood what he meant. Avram understood what he really wanted. And what he really wanted was an exuberant amount of money, which Avram was quite ready to pay, regardless of the fact whether it was the actual value price, the market value price or not. Avram knew that he must acquire this land, and that perpetually it's going to belong to all of his descendants and be a source of Kedusha, of holiness, and of solace. Thus, Avrohom begins to count out to him these 400 silver shekels. But this was no ordinary 400 silver shekel. The Torah tells us that he asked for him for the 400 silver shekels, over la socher, negotiable currency. Meaning, I want it in dollars. I want it in international currency. I want it in the best currency. The best amount of money and the best currency. No problem. Avrohom delivers the money. Interesting thing. In the very last verse, when the transaction is taking place, there's a curious omission in the name of Ephron. Typically, you would spell Ephron, Ayin, Pei, Reish, Vav, and a final nun. In this case, if you look in if you look in verse 16, it says Ephron without the Vav. In fact, when writing a Torah, in order for the Torah to be kosher, you have to strictly follow the tradition. And if the tradition calls for an omission of a letter, then if you write that letter, you insert that letter, the entire Torah is not kosher. So this is very specific, very exact. What is this hinting to us? Why would the Torah omit the Vav? Why would it shorten his name? There are two reasons. And both of them can serve as a tremendous lesson to us in our lives. The first reason the sages tell us, and Rashi quotes it, Ephron said a lot and did very little. He was a good talker. He spoke a lot. He said, "Oh, no, take it for free. It's all yours. Don't worry, it's on the house." And when it comes to getting money, he didn't just take money. He took a lot of money. He took the best money. The Midrash tells us that Ephron, although here he was promoted to greatness, and it would seem to be that he got a hefty amount of money for his little parcel of land, which was really, at that time, a meaningless piece of property with almost no seeming value. And he would have been rich, could have used that money, taken it to the bank, invested in real estate. Instead, Ephron became diminished. He became small. He became a pauper. Not only was he demoted from his greatness, but in fact, he was worse off than before he met Avram. You know why? Because Ephron tried to steal from Avram. As Avram was counting the coins, some of those coins kept slipping away. While Avram was busy focused on paying what he committed to pay, as an honest person would, Ephron kept on slipping away some of the coins. And that's when Hashem decreed, he said, not only do you expect Avram to give you what you exaggeratedly requested, and still you steal from him, you'll end up with nothing. So of course the first lesson speaks for itself. Do a lot, speak a little. Say a little and do a lot. Not like Ephron. But the second one actually is a very important lesson in life. Because sadly, too often, many of us get caught up in the temptation of taking a little extra, of slipping away something from, well, someone else, not someone else, but certainly something that's not rightfully ours. And of course, the temptation comes from a place that wants more. But if we really think about it, you end up with less. And what you do to the other person is what's going to come back to you. Just a beautiful anecdote that illustrates this point. There was once a farmer who would deliver a pound of butter to the baker every day. And this went on for several years. One day the baker, out of curiosity, took the butter and plopped it down on the scale. And lo and behold, it was less than a pound. In fact, it was about 2 ounces less than a pound. Oh my gosh! Can you imagine? For the past 4 or 5 years, this guy's been ripping me off. If you calculate all those 2 ounces per day, do you know how much he's been stealing from me? And immediately, he sues him in court. They're standing there in front of the judge. And the judge turns to the farmer and he says, "Sir, what do you have to say in your defense?" He steps up to the podium and he says, "Your Honor, I'm a simple dairy farmer. I don't know much. I barely know how to read and write. I'm not a sophisticated guy. I know how to take care of the cows. I know how to produce the milk. I know how to make a little butter, a little cheese. That's about it. But I've been buying bread from this baker for many years. Well over 10 years. And when he came to me to solicit me for my butter, I said, 'Sure, how much do you want?' He said, 1 pound. I said, 1 pound, that's great. Because I would buy every day the pound loaf of bread. So I figured, I took the pound loaf of bread, put it onto the scale, weighed the other side with the equal amount of butter, and that's what I delivered to him every day. What you give is what you get. Shalom.